going YouTube and my future self? Welcome back to my channel. This is the Lab TCG. My name is Will. I hope you're having a great day. Today, we are going to talk about how to sell Pokemon bulk and why I think Pokemon bulk and the business model behind it, or the many business models that are behind it, is probably, in my opinion, the best business model that you can have if you're operating a Pokemon business. I've used bulk many times throughout my business. It's a current revenue generator for me, and it's actually what I plan to be selling the most of going into 2022 now that I'm closing out 2021. So why do I think it's the best business model? Well, there's a lot of reasons. Number one is it's pretty easy to get into. First of all, the terminology of buying Pokemon bulk, to me, what that means mainly is buying uncommons and commons, holo rares, reverses, anything like that in mass quantities. You could also lump ultra rares into this that aren't worth a whole lot. I know bulk vendors, including myself, buy ultra rares for $1.75. Maybe if it's a V, EX, GX, you could get $1.25. But it's basically going to be buying people's unwanted bulk, just large amounts of items that people don't want. And generally speaking, the perception is that those items are not worth a lot of money. Now, this is where stuff can get a little bit interesting, and to me, going through someone's bulk collection is more fun than opening packs. I know that's a crazy thing to say, but when I get a bulk collection, there's nothing better than sifting through a bunch of cards and finding a ton of uncommons and commons that are worth more than people sell them for. Essentially how this works, if you're a business or if you're just starting to buy bulk, you want to get a price guide or a buy list, essentially, of what you're going to be paying for bulk rates. So for me, I pay 3 cents on uncommons and commons. I've talked about this in a different video, but you want to set up buy rates, whether that's for commons and uncommons only, whether that's for reverse cards, holo cards, ultra rares, all that stuff. You want to have a price that when you go to buy bulk, you can just easily send that template out and say, hey, these are the rates that I'm buying bulk, and then the person that you were buying it from will sell it to you. In addition to that, commonly confused with buying bulk collections, if you are buying a large amount of items off one person, you can justify giving them 60% on singles and then bulking out the rest. But I specifically want to talk about bulk, like commons, uncommons, holos, all that stuff that can basically be put under a certain price that you're willing to pay for as many copies as the person you're buying from has. So I used bulk many times in my business. When I started off, I was doing TCGPlayer, basically going on TCGPlayer, finding ultra rares for super cheap, usually 50 cents to $1, kind of in that range, buying out sellers of all the ultra rares they had. And I wasn't working with much capital at the time, so my maximum order from a seller might have been $100, even less. But essentially what I would do is, because I didn't know all the things that I could do in the Pokemon business, I would buy out these sellers with an average cost per ultra rare at $1. So if I got it for less, great, but the goal was to always get the cards for $1 each. So say I buy 9 ultra rares for $1 each and the shipping is 99 cents, or sorry, 10 ultra rares at a cost of $9 and the shipping is 99 cents, basically comes to about $10, 10 ultra rares, $1 per card. So I would buy massive amounts of ultra rares, and then I would go online, and I had a friend that bought, they have a store in California, so that's who I sold these to, but you could sell it to anyone. I would just buy ultra rares in mass quantities and then sell it to my friend or a business for $1.50. And this basically was just an easy way for me to go on TCGPlayer.com, select all from these stores, buy cards, sell. And I would just, make 50% return on whatever I invested every couple weeks. And it was a slow grind. Do not get me wrong. It took a while to get going, but it helped me build capital without having to think a whole lot. There's not a whole lot of thinking involved in that strategy. You're just buying a bunch of stuff at a certain price and then going to somewhere that you know is going to pay more for it. And this applies to really all the bulk rates. And I want to get into the first bulk method. There's going to be 3 methods in this video. The first one is bulk flipping. That's basically what I just described, but I'm going to go a little bit more in depth with that. The second is going to be bulk singles. That's going to be listing out each individual bulk card. It's extremely tedious, but it's a good way to start building up reviews especially, and you can create bundle deals when you're selling cards of higher value. And then the last one, and my favorite, is going to be bulk lots. So I kind of just covered the bulk flipping, especially with the ultra rares, but this really is applicable to any of those categories: uncommons and commons, rares, reverse commons, reverse rares, and holo rares, ultra rares, secret rares, whatever you can buy in bulk and sell to someone else for more. That's going to be bulk flipping. So I think the best ways to do this would be TCGPlayer with the ultra rares. I've said this in a lot of videos just because that's what I've done. But essentially what you would do is you go on TCGPlayer.com, you sort by item price only instead of price plus shipping, and when you search, just enter any ultra rare that is worth basically $1, and when you sort by item price only, it's going to be showing you the quantity that the seller has at the price plus the shipping. So the lowest listing on TCGPlayer for an ultra rare might be $1.25 plus, or $1.25 free shipping. If you sort by item price only, the lowest listing might be a 25-cent ultra rare with 99-cent shipping, or a 50-cent ultra rare with 99-cent shipping. It'd be a little bit higher than the other one. So the difference here is that one seller is charging $1.25 out the door for the card. The other seller is charging 50 cents for the card, 99 cents for the shipping. If you go on that seller, shop from the seller, you can check out all their inventory and then purchase all the cards that they have at that price. So if they have a bunch of ultra rares at 50 cents, that's how that would work. You would buy as many ultra rares as you can at that price, and then you add $1 shipping at the end. And this is something that you want to avoid. Shout out to Doug. We talked a little bit before this video. In avoiding this strategy, if you are a seller, you want to make sure that when you are pricing your cards, you are pricing them as what you want the card to sell as, and then plus shipping. A common problem is, I believe TCGPlayer starts out level 1 sellers at $4.99 shipping base. So if you sell a $5 card and you hit click lowest, or like match lowest priced in the seller dashboard, it will make that card 1 cent and then plus $4.99 instead of $4.99 plus another $4.99 for shipping. If you were to change that rate to $1, it's the same thing. Charge $1 for the card and $1 for shipping, not a cent for the card and 99 cents for shipping. If you only have one card listed, it doesn't really matter. You can do whatever you want. But when you start to have multiple cards listed, you don't want to have a bunch of cards listed at the price it would be if you were factoring in the shipping that you're charging. So that's essentially how that works, and that's how you avoid people buying out your entire inventory on item price only. Is you want to make sure that the card price is what the card is worth. Then you add the shipping. If you're doing 78 cents shipping with the free shipping, if you're a level 4 seller, it's the same thing, but you just want to make sure that you're not hitting just match price, because that's how you can get in trouble if you aren't careful. In addition to that, going into the next method, so bulk flipping, sorry, to rephrase that, you're taking the bulk, finding it somewhere cheaper, whether that's locally, whether that's Mercari or eBay, Facebook, friends that you know. It's not the easiest to get it, especially for under what a common bulk rate is, but a value add you could add to your local area, especially if you've been to tournaments before, is just starting to buy out people's bulk for, call it 2 cents, and then just sell it to someone that's paying 4 cents. I know 4 cents was the going rate for a while, so that's a good example of how you could a little bit less than double your money. And the reason I say less than is you do need to factor in shipping. So you're going to most likely do like a large flat rate USPS box, and that's anywhere from, I think medium is 17, and then the large ones can get up there. I think 25 might be the max. Don't quote me on that, but you need to use the large flat rate boxes, or if you have so much bulk, you can just use a regular box and then priority mail or UPS ground. But you need to factor in shipping, and you need to factor in any fees that are going to come with that. If the person that you are selling it to uses goods and services for payout, you need to factor that in too. You need to factor in the box. So it's not quite a double up on your money, so just be aware of that. Pretty self-explanatory. Buy low, sell high. The next strategy is going to be bulk singles, and essentially what I mean by this is buying bulk cards and then listing every single card out individually. This is extremely tedious. I did it when I got started. In addition to the ultra rares, this was kind of the first thing I did. I wanted to get my numbers up inventory wise. I wanted to be able to sell as much stuff as possible. And what I would do is, because I played competitive Pokemon, I had a ton of cards laying around. I just took all the bulk that I had in my house, and you can see it behind me this way. All these white boxes are pretty much all commons, uncommons, and holo rares that I had and have just built up over time. I haven't added to this pile of cards, like commons and uncommons wise. I just took everything I had, listed out all individually, and just let it sell. Now, this is a huge waste of time. I'll be upfront, it kind of sucks, it takes forever, and majority of the time you're going to end up losing money on those sales. And the reason I say this is because if you were to sell a card for 30 cents, let me go ahead and pull it up on my screen right here. If you were to sell a card for 30 cents, the net fees after all is said and done so like if you add the sale price at 30 cents and the shipping, I believe the net payout is 64 cents. So I'm looking at an order that I fulfilled a couple days ago. 64 cents. So 30 cents for the product, 78 cents for shipping. This is on TCG Player. $1.08 total, a fee of 44 cents, leaving with a net amount of 64 cents. Now this was just a common card that I sold. So you factor in 3 cents average buy cost. So now we're down to 61 cents. And if you remember from a different video on my channel, it cost me about 68 cents to ship a card. So I actually lose money by doing that transaction. And the way that you get this price down is to buy stamps in bulk. The 68 cents is factoring a stamp price of 58 cents. If you can buy stamps in bulk, you can get them for like 40 cents, but you need to buy a lot of them, and you need to be very careful where you're buying them from. But you can lower that cost to make it so that you're not losing money, but you need to buy a lot of stamps. And we're talking like thousands of stamps in order to get that buy cost down. Otherwise, you are paying 58 cents a stamp. Now, where this does make sense is if you can sell more than one card. So if you sell 2 cards at 60 or at 30 cents each or 25 cents each, that's when you would start to make more money. You would, your 3 cent buy cost can turn into a lot more profit after fees if you're selling 2 cards instead of 1. I found that I can fit 5 single cards into a plain white envelope using the layout that I displayed in the other videos on my channel. Basically, the cardboard top loader with the envelopes in a regular stamp. 5 cards, you put it in there, and it works out fine. The idea here is when you're listing all these cards, you're trying to get visibility to your store on TCG Player because it will bring more people to your storefront. And people on TCG Player like to bundle order, especially competitive players. If you get a competitive player that needs 4 copies of Switch, 4 copies of Escape Rope, 4 copies of Evolution Incense, they're likely going to choose it from you because you have all the cards instead of the random person that has 1 of each card and then another seller that has 1 of each card, because they get hit with shipping every time. And you can also charge more if you have a quantity of 4. In the competitive card game, if you don't know this, you're allowed to play up to 4 copies of a card. So most of the time when competitive players buy cards, they're buying it in quantity of 4. So if you go on TCG Player, sometimes you can see that there are cards listed for a quarter and they have 1 copy. If you scroll down to the first seller that has 4 copies, depending on the card, they're usually charging more for it. And the competitive cards you can find on limitlesstcg.com, go to the decks and look through those. Don't sell cards for under a quarter. Even if you get your stamp price down a whole bunch, you're just going to lose money selling cards at a quarter. Just don't do it. It's a waste of your time too. You won't make any money. Just keep it at a quarter. 78 cents shipping is the lowest I would go. It's the lowest I've ever gone. Wouldn't recommend going any lower than that. And then the last strategy that we're going to talk about, and this is my favorite, it's probably the thing that allowed me to scale my business the fastest, and that's going to be bulk lots. Now, when I was selling on eBay several years ago, I didn't even have a business at this time. I did bulk lots and I was quite successful at it on eBay. Basically just throwing loose cards that I had from pack openings into, a team bag or a graded card bag, something like that, and then just selling it on eBay, advertising it as, you get a guaranteed ultra rare and then you get a bunch of commons and uncommons. That strategy works, and it's not my favorite. What I've really found to like is Amazon FBA. This is something that people really do not talk about, and you do need to have a real business or a resale license, basically something that signifies that you're a business, and you also need to have a distribution invoice from a distributor And if you have both of those things, you can apply to sell on Amazon and then do all that stuff. We're going to talk about that more in depth in a different video, but essentially, instead of having to ship individual bulk lots to sellers, you send everything to Amazon and they handle the rest. And I've made a lot of money doing that. Pretty much every time I sell a bulk lot, I'm at least doubling my money, and that has pretty much caused me to be able to grow substantially, really. Just invest in bulk, sort it out, make it into lots, and then sell the lots on Amazon. But because that is definitely like more advanced when it comes to the business side, the beginner way to do this and get your feet wet with the bulk lots is selling on eBay, Mercari, and Facebook are probably the best three, or locally, that works too, but probably the best three ways to do this. You're mainly going to be targeting parents and children. Just know that. You're not targeting competitive players, and you're really not targeting the average collector, because the bulk lots are basically cards that are unwanted, and a collector, they're going to want more higher value cards, where kids and parents, they really don't know the difference, and a kid would be overjoyed to get 100 different commons and uncommons to fill out their binder with, and parents love it because it's a value option. If you sell 100 cards for $9, a booster pack is 10 cards for like I think it's $4 right now. So you can do the math there. You're getting way more bang for your buck, and that's why it sells really well on Amazon too. But you can list these on these places, and another cool thing about bulk lots is you can really do whatever you want with them. You can do only uncommons and commons. You can do only rares. You can do only holos. You could do a legendary Pokemon lot where you have, Victinis and Dialgas and Palkias and whatever's, only legendary cards, and you advertise it as that. So when someone comes on eBay, they go, oh, a lot of only legendaries, this is great. And most legendaries are in like non-holo rares that you can buy for like 5 cents. So if you create a lot of 10 legendary cards at 5 cents each, your cost is 50 cents, and you can probably sell that lot for a decent amount of money, and then plain white envelope that out, or eBay standard tracking, or first class, depending on how you want to do it. But there's a lot of ways to be creative with bulk lots. I know a very common one is 100 cards, and then some amount of reverse holos. It's like 7 or something. And then 1 guaranteed EX, GX, or V. Now, with that guaranteed EX, GX, or V, that could be this Scizor V. It could be a Butterfree V. It's not going to be this Shaman of Alex. It's just not. It's going to be one of these bulk cards that you buy for $1. And essentially, you can do the math to make it so that once you subtract eBay fees, your cost, and your shipping, you're turning a profit on those bulk lots. Yes, it takes time to make the bulk lots, and it's extremely annoying. For me, at least. I don't like making the bulk lots, but I know they make money, and that's enough motivation for me to go through it. Another thing is when you're making these bulk lots, you have to sort the bulk to make sure there's no duplicates, because customers hate duplicates. Even if your listing says there may be duplicates, do everything you can to not give duplicates. In addition to this, a good strategy that I like is if you take an energy card and add it as a 101st card or a 51st card, depending on the count of your lots, it can kind of act as an extra card that they wouldn't have gotten, as long as your listing doesn't say you won't send energies. So like one of the listings I do is 50 uncommons and commons. I put an energy in the lot, so it's 51 cards every time. That way, if I ever make a mistake and double up a card, there's technically a 51st card that acts as a unique 50th card. So great way. There's a lot of ways to sell bulk lots. Most of the time, I will just take a graded card sleeve or a team bag and put the bulk inside of it, and then it's like a little unit. You could also use paper. You could use like gift wrap. There's all kinds of ways. Just make sure that you are protecting the cards when you are shipping them, and that it's a certain weight. You don't want to be sending those things priority mail. Not great. Another good person who's really good for bulk lots specifically, I think I've mentioned him on the channel before, is Asian Buffett Reseller on TikTok and YouTube. His entire business model, as far as I know, is mainly bulk lots. He makes them for all types of kids and parents in his local area. He's done little garage sales where he sells bulk lots. It's pretty cute, actually, as someone that has like gone to yard sales and hosted yard sales before. So highly recommend that as for the creating of the bulk lots. And you can really just do whatever you'd like. And the greatest thing that I don't think I've covered on in this video yet about buying bulk is when you buy someone's bulk collection, you can find so many things. You have no idea what the person you're buying from qualifies as bulk. And at the end of the day, if all you get is a bunch of bad commons and uncommons, you're going to make profit on them because that's what you're trying to purchase. If you buy a collection and there's a bunch of competitive singles or there's a bunch of holos that are worth money, that is all going to decrease your bottom line, and at the end of the day, make whatever you're purchasing more profitable. So it's a lot of fun. Some of the best things that I've found in bulk collections would be 13 Drizziles, which at the time were like $5 each. Evolution Incense, those were I think $1 at the time, and there were like tons of them. You know, people open battle decks and stuff that have those things in them. They open tons of packs. So find those people that open tons of packs and that don't sell cards themselves, and you can rake in a lot of profit. Also, there's a lot of holo cards that are worth, $5, $10 that you wouldn't think about. Old school bulk is another thing that I would actually list individually, because a lot of those cards, especially if you're talking the EX era, Diamond and Pearl era, there's a lot of commons and uncommons that are worth more than 25 cents or 30 cents. There's a lot of holos that are worth $10, $20. So buying collections in bulk, buying bulk collections in general is a huge plus, and I would highly recommend doing it. I think it's the best business model, and it only scales. The more bulk you can process, the more money you make from bulk, the more you can reinvest it, the bigger your business grows. It's to the point where if you've ever been to like a Walmart or Target, and if you know those booster packs, they're not Pokemon packs, they're basically bulk lots sold in a retail store. I believe the company that makes them is MJ Holdings. There might be some other companies, but vendors that process and buy bulk can get contracts with those companies, and then they get a ton of money from those companies to essentially provide these repacks or just the cards themselves, and then the bigger company that's distributing it to retail stores, big box stores, makes a ton of money. So that was a little sneak peek at the end there. If you stayed all the way, that's the little hidden gem for you, is that this can go crazy, and we will definitely talk about Amazon more. It's amazing, really. I would highly recommend looking into it. Definitely register yourself as a business at the very least. I know getting distribution is pretty difficult right now, but it always pays to do things right, whether that's registering as an LLC or a sole proprietorship or just getting a resale tax ID. Any of the three. If you're going to do this or you plan to do this as a business, you might as well do it right and make sure that you are keeping track of all the things that you are buying and selling, because it's extremely important when it comes to tax time. But we'll talk about some of those other topics a little bit later. If you stayed this late in the video, as always, I really appreciate you watching all the way through. This was just another video talking about why I think bulk is the best business model in Pokemon, and I will update you more as things happen. If you have any questions for me, I know this was a very long video, feel free to leave them in the comments or direct message me. I also just opened up a Discord server for anyone that wants to join. I was talking with some viewers on the side, and I figured, well, it'd probably be a good idea to just make a community place where I can put out the sales and purchases that I'm making, and also as a place to kind of have community discussion. So if that's something you're interested in, the link will be in the description. Thank you so much for watching. If you subscribed, you're already here. Have a good one, and I'll see you in the next video.